What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL video. My name is Mo, and today we're going to be going through the best game week fixtures between game week 30 and game week 34. So these are 5 game week fixtures. I'm going to be reviewing 5 teams who I believe have the best game week fixtures over this period. Now, the significance of this period window of these fixtures is the fact that there's going to be European fixtures for Champions League. You've also got this in between international break. You've got the Europa League ties to be played for the knockout stages. You've also got the League Cup final between Manchester City and Spurs, and then you've also got the semi-finals for the FA Cups that are going to be in between these game week as well. So I've listed 5 teams who I believe have the best fixtures on paper moving forward in terms of which players we can target and where I think you guys can get your best returns from. So we're going to be discussing that in this video today. If you like what you see and you've been here before, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, FPL Inkling. If you guys have been here before, you'll probably be aware that I'm working towards a 500 subscriber target by the end of season. So at the end of game week 38, if I can hit 500 subscribers, I'll win a bet against my friend where I'll win a PS5. I've already got around 182 subscribers. So thank you. Please hit subscribe and continue to enjoy the content that I will share. So let's not waste any time and let's get cracking. So first, the team I'm going to be going through is going to be Chelsea. So let's have a look at who Chelsea have over the next 5 game weeks. So starting in game week 30, we start with West Brom, which is the lunchtime kickoff, followed by Crystal Palace, which is away. I think those are very good fixtures for Chelsea to keep clean sheets, but also have some attacking returns as well. Game week 32, they're blank. They play West Ham away in 33, and in 34, they're home against Fulham. So if I look at the fixtures in totality, I think there's some really good defensive returns to come through. There are 3 players that I'm going to pick out who I think are going to be, for me, the kind of like prime target players from Chelsea. So obviously Rudiger is going to be number 1. He's been playing regularly since Tuchel came into Chelsea. He's pretty solid at the back, 4.6 mil, only owned by around 4.5% of managers. He's quite solid, and I think that's a good player to have in there. And I think the goalkeeper Mendy is going to be a really good shout, because I think out of these 4 out of 5 game weeks, I think I can at least see 3 clean sheets from my perspective over there. And if you want to go for an attacking perspective, maybe Mason Mount, because I think he's like the most regular out of the front 6 who will play. He's on corners, free kicks, short free kicks, long free kicks, and I think he's always part of the kind of like forefront of Chelsea's kind of attack and offence, and he's always there or thereabouts to be there to take the prime advantage of their attacking return play. And he's already around about £7 million as well, whereas other assets such as Werner, Havertz are far more in price. So maybe Mount will be a good player to consider from an attacking sense. So that is from Chelsea for me. You're probably thinking, why have I chosen 2 of the defensive rather than attacking? It's more to do with the rotation policy. So I think if you choose someone like a Mendy who's kind of like nailed on to being goal for Chelsea, and Rudiger, yeah, there's a risk of rotation, but if you look at the minutes that he's had, which I'll go through with you guys since Tuchel has come in, have a look. Most regularly, he's only been like rested for the Everton game recently. But if you look at from like game week 19 onwards, he's been pretty much the solid fixture in the back. Yes, I know Thiago Silva's injured, but from what I've seen so far and the returns that it's given in terms of only conceding 2 goals since Tuchel has been in charge for Chelsea, definitely goalkeeper and Rudiger look like a solid 2 out of 3 to at least attempt for Chelsea to get into your squads. The next team that I have is going to be Manchester United. So let's have a look if we get Manchester United's next 5 fixtures up. So you can see they play Brighton in game week 30. They've got Tottenham away. Now Tottenham away sounds difficult. They beat them 6-1 in the corresponding fixture at Old Trafford. But if I look at Tottenham now, I mean the game they played against Arsenal, not so great. Yes, they were away for that fixture, but they're playing at home. But I've not really been against the big boys. They haven't been really kind of like solidified in terms of they played Liverpool, didn't play that well over Christmas, and I think there's a tendency that Mourinho can park the bus a bit too early, and I think Manchester United have got a good momentum, so I don't think that's going to be that difficult. It could be a 0-0, but I still think I favour United over Tottenham for that one. With Son being out, not too sure how that's going to pan out, but if I had to look on paper, Manchester United versus Tottenham, United have done well in away games especially, and against the big teams as well. I know they haven't scored much, but they've been able to hold on to solidify their performances. So, people like Luke Shaw might be a good idea. The goalkeeper's rotation, so I'm not going to go around talking about that. But I think Paul Pogba is going to be someone to look into. He scored a vital goal in his return game of the Europa League to send United through in their qualifying tie. So Pogba's going to be hungry, wants to prove a point, will want to get into the French national squad, build his confidence. And if he is looking for a move away from United this season, at the end of the season, as his agent said at December, this is the time now for him to really solidify his performance, his run of form. So maybe Pogba, Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes for me. And after the Tottenham game, they've got Burnley, followed by Leeds and then Liverpool. So they're a bit more challenging fixtures, but they're all, something that I believe that at least 3 out of the 5 games United can come away with something. And it's going to look like something which they'll be able to obviously conquer, and they're going to be playing Europa League games as well. So Brighton, Burnley, Leeds should be something which they can get through. Tottenham as well. Liverpool at home will be an interesting game because I think United had the best chance to beat them in the first fixture where Liverpool were quite, I'd say, limited in terms of injuries and the selection they had a pool of talent. And United went very defensive, but this is going to be a nice open game. It might be a chance where United will be trying to solidify their top 4 position. Liverpool want to kind of break into the top 4 position. So these next 5 game weeks for United, I think they look quite friendly on paper. It just depends on how they can get the best out of their team and pick them up for these big games, especially against Tottenham and the biggest game for me in the season, which is Liverpool at home. So the third team I'm going to be looking at is going to be Wolves. Now, Wolves for me, I think they are someone who've been under the radar recently in terms of their performances and what they have given. So let's have a look at their fixtures. So let's go on the watch list. I might have some here. So yeah, we've got Connor Cody here. Cool. So in terms of fixtures for Wolves, so we've got West Ham in game week 30, and then look at the greens that are to follow all the way to 34. They've got Fulham away, Sheffield United at home, Burnley at home, and West Brom away. And then even after that in 35, they've got Brighton at home. So for me, if you guys want to get triple up on Wolves from game week 30 onwards, I would not be surprised. So kind of like, I think defensively, those look games like where they can get some serious clean sheets. So someone like a Connor Cody will be a good shout. It's club captain, always there or thereabouts for set pieces, so he's got good returns and he's a good threat from those kind of set pieces as well. I think other players you can consider from there is definitely Neto. So Neto is someone who's been the most kind of like what's right I would say? I'd say he's the most offensive returns he's got in terms of his attacking returns for the club since the injury to Jimenez. I think he's going to be someone who clubs should target. And you've also got Neves, who here and there, will have a performance in him and get a double-digit score. But Connor Cody definitely, followed by Neto, and I would say Neves, who's going to be considered. Those fixtures are very friendly on paper. I think the good thing with Wolves is now, the expectation for them to be safe in the league. They're safe. They don't have any kind of like other aspirations, in terms of like qualifying for Europe. I think, are they going to be really going for it? I'm not too sure. But I think the pressure that's been on Wolves with the whole kind of like recent results and the fixtures they had were really congested and really tough, in my opinion. But if you look at those fixtures now, I think out of all the teams that I want to go through today, the 5 teams, I think they have the most friendliest of fixtures. A full squad with Patricio in goal and Jimenez up front. I think I definitely would have Jimenez, Connor Cody and Neto would have been the 3 players that I definitely would have gone through in terms of Wolves and their players for the next 4 to 5 game weeks and see how it goes from there. So if you guys are looking to kind of like get Wolves players in, maybe not in game week 30 because they've got West Ham from 31 onwards, it might be a good chance for you to replace your lead assets because their fixtures are going to swing to becoming difficult, or maybe Aston Villa because they're going to be having difficult fixtures as well in the next couple of game weeks. So that's something to consider, especially if you've got a free hit or a wild card that you're going to be playing. It's going to be worth getting in some Wolves asset for the next 5 game weeks. So the next team I have on my list is Liverpool. So I'll get Mo Salah up. So the fixtures that they have from game week 30 onwards, they've got Arsenal away, followed by Aston Villa at home, Leeds away, and then Newcastle, followed by Manchester United. So for me, barring the Manchester United game, they're all games that are winnable for Liverpool if we take the form from last season and the early parts before December. However, recently, they've not been that great since the turn of the new year. They've had a good little break now between the international break for them to kind of regroup, see where the team is, kind of get a breather amongst them. They got some people that are returning from injuries, such as Jota. Hopefully, I think Henderson should be back soon. I think they're going to be expecting some more players returning in the long term. But I think that, from an offensive point of view, Salah hasn't had a good period in the last couple of game weeks with Mane as well. So there's a really good chance that they've had some time off, some time away, where they can actually, kind of regroup and re-gel and hopefully kind of like regain the form that they had pre their slipping form of the new year. So that's something that's going to be worth watching out for Liverpool themselves. I think they're all winnable fixtures, and I think if you were to look out for some players from their team, I'd definitely say Mo Salah. In terms of offensive, he'd always be there or thereabouts. You can see his ownership has kind of like significantly deteriorated from around 55%, and now it's come down to around 29% of ownership. Even if you look at his fixtures after the United game, he's got some really good fixtures at the end of the season. He's got Southampton, West Brom, Burnley or Crystal Palace. So, even in my game week 31 wild card video that I'm going to make, there might be some eyebrows raised that if I don't have Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes in my wildcard draft, because if you look at those fixtures, barring the Manchester United game, I reckon all those games are winnable. Even the United game included for Liverpool, if they can replicate the form they had last season and in the early parts of this year as well. I think Jota is going to be very key for the link-up between Firmino, Mane, Salah. He's going to be kind of like that kind of rock that they had in the early parts of the year where, through the midfield, he was kind of pulling the strings, setting them out on wide and then kind of like moving forward towards the offensive threat of scoring goals. I also think Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to have like a new lease of life, a new motivation. He pretty much has been informed that he's not going to be part of the England setup for the Euros after not being selected for the international duty. Is he, going to take that as like a challenge to prove Southgate wrong? Not too sure really, but I think as well as I know Alexander-Arnold, he's always been someone who's taken on challenges very well in the early parts of his career. Yes, he hasn't had a good season so far, and there are players who are playing better in those positions which have been selected based on current form rightfully by Gareth Southgate. But I think that he's got a lot to prove. He was number one for Liverpool and England over the last 12 months. There's no reason why he can't regain his position due to him improving his form. And with the game week fixtures I've showed you for Liverpool, I think that's on the cards. And he'll want to prove a point to Gareth Southgate. Let's just say the other people in his position that have been selected lose form. Could be injuries, you never know. At least he can be someone who's in the setup or in the thought process of the England management to get them back in. I think Klopp is someone who's really good at managing people who need confidence, so he can put his arm around their shoulder. I think Trent's got that ability to whip in good set pieces such as corners, free kicks. He's got that quick presence of mind where, I think you guys must remember that quick kind of corner they took against Barcelona, which I think Origi scored and Liverpool won that famous match that night. So offensively, he's got a really good chance to prove his worth and defensively as well. So let's see how that all goes. So Trent Alexander for me, I might consider bringing him in. But I might give him till game week 31 personally because I want to see how he plays against Arsenal and Aston Villa. And then Leeds onwards, I could have a kind of like juggle off my squad, bring in Alexander-Arnold, see how we can go from there, or even Mo Salah. I might decide to get rid of one of Bruno or KDB. Anything can happen, or maybe I might just get rid of maybe Son and upgrade him to Salah. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the fixtures pan out. We'll see how the results come through. But Liverpool are going to be someone I'm going to be consider bringing in to my squad. And final but not least, I'm going to bring in another team which, if you look at they don't have all fixtures in the whole 5 game weeks that we have, but the fixtures they do have, we can go through with you. So I'm going to choose Southampton. If you look from game week 30, they've got 2 blank game weeks which are between 32 and 33. So I'm thinking if you're going to look to make any transfers this week, maybe kind of like bring in some Southampton players. I think it would be a good shout. You've got Burnley at home, followed by West Brom away. And then maybe in 32, if you're looking to play a wild card or you're looking to make 2 transfers, then you can take out the 2 players that you bring in for this week. So I've got 3 players for Southampton on my watch list. So I've got obviously Ward-Prowse, We've got Che Adams and Armstrong for me as well. So Ward-Prowse is going to be the more kind of like the set piece specialist, penalties, free kicks, those kind of things, corners. And you've got Che Adams, who's going to be like the primary, the sole striker, because Danny Ings is injured at the moment. He's had a really good return as well. So I'm not going to say from the sense that, these are between game week 30 to 35, 34, which are the 5 fixtures we're going to go through. But the first 2 fixtures, they're really worth having a look at, because I don't think many kind of managers at the moment are going to look at these players from Southampton due to seeing those 2 blank game weeks. But if you're going to use 2 transfers now and then allow 2 transfers to build up, you can take them back out straight. Maybe replace them with, I would say Wolves kind of assets. So that's something that you guys can consider bringing into your squad. So these are for me the 5 kind of teams on my kind of like watch list. So as I mentioned, Chelsea, Manchester United, Wolves, Liverpool and Southampton, who I'm going to consider bringing in or having a watch over to kind of like bring into my squad. It might not all be done all of a sudden, but over the next kind of 5 game weeks, these are the teams I think will have the kind of like most friendliest fixtures on paper. But we don't go by paper. That's not how the game of football is played. It's played on the pitch. It could be that whatever I've just gone through might be all absolute kind of reversed, and the teams who I didn't give any support to might turn around and get a result over these teams. We don't know. That's the beauty of football and the FPL game itself. So let's keep this in mind. Let's keep these fixtures in mind. Keep these players that I've discussed in mind as well, to see if we want to bring them in, who we can bring in. Are there any other players that I've missed out in here? You guys can let me know. So let me know how you guys think. That's all from this video in terms of best game week fixtures for the next 5 game weeks between game week 30 and game week 34 for FPL 2020-2021 season. Let me know how you guys think of the teams and players that I've mentioned. Have I mentioned any players that you guys are going to put into your team? Have I mentioned any players that you guys will want to put in your teams, but I've not discussed them in any detail, or I've kind of briefly mentioned them? Or are there any players that you are bringing in I haven't talked about, or the teams that you feel have better fixtures and I haven't discussed? So leave some comments in the comments section. Hit the like button if you liked what you see. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, FPL Inkling. Help me get to the 500 subscribers by the end of the season, and I can win that PS5. Again, if you want to get notifications of my videos straight away, hit the notifications icon to get the latest notification for my videos being released. Thank you so much for watching. Be brave, be different, make the best choices, and you guys will get the rewards for being the best manager and the best points for the game week. Have a good game week. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you guys soon.